In this beginner-friendly Blender tutorial, I will show you how to create the Twitch logo with animation-ready topology. You can use the same method to give any logo good quad topology. Creating good topology for objects can be challenging and time-consuming, but the Twitch logo is quick and easy to work with and a perfect starting point for learning how to think about topology. And if you want to learn how to animate the logo in Blender with shape keys like I did in the intro, there is a link to the tutorial on screen or in the description below. So why and when should you take the time to give your logos good quad topology? Triangle-shaped faces can lead to issues such as shading artifacts and difficulties in UV mapping, as triangle can create uneven surface normals. Take for example these two planes. The face with the triangles has some clear artifacts around the edge, and it's even more visible when we turn on a metallic shader. If we add some more geometry with a subdivision surface modifier, it actually makes the problem more pronounced, causing more stretching and artifacts. It can also be difficult to work with a mesh with triangles. If you have all quads, you can easily select the loops by holding down Alt and click on a face or an edge. But this is impossible when working with triangles. Triangles can work fine for low poly models. It can even give it a cool look. And they can be used for stylistic choices. They also work well for flat, rigid surfaces. But it's best practice to use quads whenever possible, and especially for rounded meshes. And with that whole topology rant over, let's get started. Download the Twitch logo from the link in the description below and unzip the files. Let's open up a new blend file. Then press A to select all and X to delete. Go to File, Import, and select Scalable Vector Graphic. Navigate to the folder you just downloaded and find the 0.2 glitch folder. And then let's use the flat purple SVG. This imports the logo as 4 curves. I will delete this face curve by selecting it and press X. Select the 3 remaining curves by pressing A. Then press R and X and 90 to rotate 90 degrees on the X-axis. Let's quickly go to the Shading tab and change the default material to a Principled BSDF. And change the color to the Twitch purple color. The hex code is 9146FF. Now go back to the Layout tab. To make it easier for you to see what I'm doing, I will add a background plane for the logo. So press Shift and A, Mesh and Plane. Then select the plane, press R, X and 90 to rotate. And then G and Y to move it slightly behind the logo. Then I'll scale it up on the Z and X axis. Right-click on each curve and convert to mesh. Then select one of the eyes and press Tab to go into edit mode. As you can see, the faces are triangles, but this is easy to fix. Go to Edge Select mode by pressing 2 on your keyboard or click the button up here. Then click on the diagonal line, press X and select Dissolve Edge. And that's all fixed. Let's tap back into object mode and select the other eye, and let's rinse and repeat. So tab into edit mode, select the line, X and dissolve. And now it's time to tackle the face. Select the face and tab into edit mode. And let's get rid of this ugly topology ASAP. Make sure you're still in Edge Select mode and click on one of these inner edges. Then hold down Shift and click on all the remaining inner edges. If you accidentally select one of the outer edges, you can just click on it once more to deselect. Press X to delete and select only edges and faces. There seems like there were some duplicates of this edge down here. So let's select it and press X and delete only edges and faces again. Oh, and there is one more, so get rid of that as well. Imported SVGs might have issues with vertices on top of each other or very close together. So it's always good practice to check this before moving on. To do this, press 1 on your keyboard or this button up here to go to Vertex Select mode. Press A to select all and then M and merge by distance. As we can see down here, it didn't remove any vertices. This means that there weren't any duplicates in this particular logo, so we're ready to move on. First, make sure you have the Loop Tools add-on enabled. This is a very handy add-on that makes it quicker to create edges and faces between vertices. To add it, go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, and search for Loop Tools. Make sure the box here is ticked, and then you can close the window. Now we need to have a look at the mesh and make a plan for how we can join vertices to create quad faces. I can immediately spot some great candidates to start with. For example, these two vertices right here are straight across from each other. So we'll plan on adding an edge here. In order to create a quad, we will need another vertex on this edge, across from here. To add a vertex along this edge, select one of these two vertices. Ctrl R to add vertex, left click to confirm, and right click to leave in place. Now we want to move this vertex so that it's aligned with the other one. If we press G and move, we can always eyeball it, but there's a better technique we can use. With the vertex selected, press G twice to go to Edge Slide. This will let us slide the vertex along the line, but we can't move it outside of the existing edge. So this is very handy. And see this white line here? If we drag this out to the vertex we want to align it with, Blender will automatically put the vertex in the right place. That's pretty neat, huh? And we can now see that we will get a nice quad here once we add the edges. We can see that this vertex up here needs a buddy on the opposite edge. So select the vertex on this edge, Ctrl R to add vertex, and left click to confirm. Then press G twice and drag the white line to this vertex to align it, and left click to release in place. As we can see, we now have quads here, here, and here. We can also see that we need to add a vertex here. So select one of the vertices on the edge, Ctrl R, left click to leave in place, GG and slide it into place, then left click to confirm. Next we can see that these can be joined up, and these. But have a look down here. It's tempting to create an edge just across here, but this will give us a triangle, which we really want to avoid. Instead, we can create quads by just joining these two vertices, and then join these two. See? So this is how you need to think and plan when creating good topology. Okay, so we now have our whole topology planned out. But before filling in the faces, let's add some support edges to help us get nice clean edges along the outside of the face. So press A to select all, then F to fill these large faces. Then immediately press I to inset and type 0.001. As you can see, this creates a really thin border around the edge. With the large faces still selected, press X and delete them because we don't need them anymore. Now we'll make the borders a bit wider. So hold down Alt and click outside the edge to select the whole edge. Then press GG and hold down Alt and we can slide these edges along the normals. While holding down Alt, type -6. And a quick FYI, for me this only works if I use the minus and 6 on my keyboard, not the numpad. But this issue might be caused by my keyboard settings. We'll do the same with the outer edge. So hold down Alt and click outside the edge to select the whole loop. Then press GG, hold down Alt and type -6. Before extruding the face, we will add some edge control loops inside the borders we just created. Edge control loops help us control how sharp or rounded edges are. So zoom in a little bit, make sure you're in the edge select mode, and click on one of the edges inside this border. Then press Ctrl and R to add a loop cut, left click to confirm, and right click to leave in place. To make it easy to see which lines are control loops, let's mark this as a seam so it turns red. Then right click and mark its seam. Then add a loop inside the other border. So Ctrl R, left click and right click. Then right click and mark its seam. Now it's finally time to add those quad faces. Press 1 on your keyboard to go to vertex select. And a feature from the Loop Tool add-on will help us fill in the edges and faces. Start by selecting these two vertices and then press F to fill. This adds an edge. Then move your mouse above the edge we just created and press F. And this should fill out the whole quad face. Let's continue filling in faces and edges. So move your mouse up and press F to fill. And just continue around until you get here. Once we get here, we might get some issues with the automatic fill function. But all we have to do is select the vertices for each quad. So hold down Shift and click on these 4 vertices. And then press F. Same thing here, select the 4 vertices and press F. And then the same down here. Let's also add some loop cuts to make sure the faces have a more even size. That way we don't get issues when deforming the mesh. Start by clicking on this edge, then press Ctrl and R and roll your mouse wheel to add the desired number of loops. 2 will do here. Click here and add more loops. We'll go for 2 here as well. Then continue adding loops around the whole face until all the faces are just about the same size. I will fast forward and catch up with you on the other side. That looks so much better. It's time to make this 3D. So press A to select all, and it's easier to see what we're doing if we turn to side view. Press E to extrude and Y to extrude along the Y-axis, and then type 0.7. If you want it to be thicker or thinner, you can go with another number. Let's press Tab to go into object mode to have a look at the result. I can tell that we have some shading issues down here. It seems like some normals might be pointing the wrong way. So let's check. Go up to Overlay and turn on Face Orientation. And wow, that turned bright red. So we need to flip these normals. Tab back into Edit mode and press A to select all and Shift and N to recalculate the normals. Tab back into Object mode and that looks so much better. So right click and Shade Smooth. And let's add a Subdivision Surface modifier to give us some more geometry to the form. A quick way to add a Subdivision Surface modifier is to click on your object and press Ctrl and 2. This adds a modifier with 2 levels of subdivision. And we can see the modifier over in the modifier properties. As you can see, this made the corners really rounded. I really like the soft look, but I will show you how to get those sharper edges back. So select your face and tab back into Edit mode. Let's start by making this corner sharp. So press Ctrl and R and add a loop cut. Left click to confirm and slide it over to make the corner sharper. Then left click to confirm. Right click and mark seam as this is a control loop. We'll add a loop cut on the other side of the corner as well. So press Ctrl and R, left click, slide, and left click to confirm. Then right click and mark seam. Let's sharpen this corner as well, so Ctrl R, left click, slide in place, and left click. And then right click and mark seam. And add a loop on the other side as well. Let's see if you can sharpen the rest of the corners on your own. So pause the video right here, and I will catch up with you once you're done. So here's my result. Did you manage to sharpen all the corners? To add support loops around the outer edge, we will press Ctrl and R, left click and then right click to leave the loop in the middle. Then we'll bevel it by pressing Ctrl and B and move the mouse until the loops are close to the edges. And scroll your mouse wheel to create one loop in the middle. You can then select both support loops by holding down Alt, click on one of them, then hold down Shift and Alt and click on the other one. Then right click and mark seam. We will also do the same thing for the inner edges. So Ctrl R, add loop cut, left click, right click to leave in place, then press Ctrl and B and bevel, move the loops to the edges, and roll the mouse wheel so we have one loop in the middle. Hold down Alt and select this edge, hold down Alt and Shift and select the other edge, and right click and mark seam. Let's tab back into object mode to have a look at the result. And that's the face all done. We will also extrude the eyes, so select one eye, tab into Edit mode, Press E and Y to extrude along the y-axis. Then type 0.05. If you want, you can create control loops around the edges, like we did with the face. But I want the eyes to be rounded, so I will leave it without the support loops. I will only add one loop cut across like this. Tab back into object mode, right-click and shade smooth. Then press Ctrl and 2 to add a subdivision surface modifier. And let's do the same thing for the other eye. So tab into edit mode, press E to extrude and Y to extrude along the y-axis, and then add a loop cut across. And that's the Animation Ready Twitch logo all done. If you want to animate your logo, make sure to check out my tutorial on how to animate with shape keys. And if you found this tutorial helpful, remember to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye!